What up, amigos? This week's book review is a little bit late. Because I actually started working on a longer form video that I'm still working on a script and some details for it and stuff like that. Because I wanted to get into more content like that. But right now, brief hiatus, I picked up on Amazon Kindle The Thing in the Ward by Nicholas Gray. If you don't know who he is, check out Spooky Noodles here on YouTube. He's a booktuber / author tuber now, right? So I've been wanting to pick up his book for a while. I know he has more than one. So I've been looking at, I wasn't sure what to get. It was just the first one that popped up on Kindle. And it was actually like, instead of $4, it was free for some reason. Don't know why, but I grabbed it. So shout out to Spooky Noodles. Anyway, I'm gonna give you all a little review of the book. And I want to preface this by saying I wasn't sure if I wanted to, after finishing the book, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this review or not. Because I don't want to, affect Nick's writing career. But I have 46 subscribers or something. I don't think my opinion matters that much, and I planned on making the video, so let's get into it. First of all, premise of The Thing in the Ward is we start off with a young man named Gavin. Gavin is 20 years old, I believe, and has been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Sorry if I got that wrong. I'm 97% sure that's right. He has cancer. And we're kind of following him as he changes from one wing of the hospital to this new wing, where he starts undergoing a new treatment for his cancer. I guess a new kind of chemo. I'm not familiar enough with cancer and what goes on with it to be exactly sure what he's talking about, but I think it was a new kind of supposedly chemo. And in this hospital wing, in this ward, there is a young nurse who Gavin thinks is really cute, and but there's kind of something strange about his new treatment, right? So that's the basic premise. It's a very short read. I think it's 40 pages. I read it in like an hour and a half, but I was also cooking lasagna and eating at the same time, so there were a lot of distractions going on. So what did I think of The Thing in the Ward? Well, to start off, I think the opening is really quite good for The Thing in the Ward. The first opening, introductory pages, where we're in the head of Gavin and we are kind of experiencing his thoughts. And I would assume that this comes from Nick's own experience with cancer, but Gavin's thoughts feel very real. They feel very personal, and they're really a pretty strong emotional gut punch. There's also a lot of strong imagery. There's a point where Gavin's undergoing some tests to be diagnosed with cancer and things like that, and it made me grimace. It's horrible. It got to me, man. Which I think is an indicator of strong imagery and strong writing at conveying these things, right? Where I ran into problems with The Thing in the Ward is, number one, first and foremost, my biggest problem with this book, and what really drags the book down for me, is the prose is not very good. I found the prose to be very repetitive. I found that certain words were used far too often. There was a lot of he and just Gavin's name and a lot of things like that, which I think is the mark of a younger author, a newer author. A not very well refined prose, and it was bothersome enough for me that it was pretty distracting from the story, and it was pulling me out of the story because I just really didn't enjoy the prose of this book. And I think the prose really needs work. But if the prose is cleaned up, there's a lot of area for improvement there. And then I think it really would elevate the rest of the story if there's that improvement made, right? Because it would stop detracting from the strong parts of the story, which I said were the emotional gut punch, the honesty of the feelings being conveyed, and the imagery. I had a second problem, and that is there was a shift in tone. Maybe halfway through the book, right? Where the book starts off really somber, and we're just experiencing these just really almost, depressing emotions. You really feel bad for Gavin, it sounds pretty awful the way it's conveyed. And the way the tone is, it really conveyed to me a thing of like, I thought this was going to be like a psychological type horror, a more slow burn horror, right? Something that takes a little bit of time to develop, and you're maybe not even sure what all took place during the book. I feel like that's a terrible explanation, but maybe you horror fans out there know what I'm talking about. I'm not super experienced in horror. The terminology is lost on me. Anyway, that slow tone really flips very quickly into a much higher intensity tone, which I wasn't ready for. I wasn't expecting. I didn't see it coming, and it felt really abrupt. These two things combined, the prose and that sudden shift in tone, I really, about 3/4 through the book, I was like, whew, this one's kind of a rough read, because the negatives are starting to really outweigh the positives for me. And then the ending was dope. I thought the ending was actually really, really cool. I really enjoyed the ending. I liked how things kind of turned around. I wasn't sure, I couldn't see how this was gonna end, where this was gonna go. I had bad feelings about the ending as I was reading towards the end of the book, and then the ending was actually pretty freaking cool. I really liked the ending. I was gonna give this book a 4 out of 10 as I was going through it, thinking about it, but I think the ending bumps it up to, a 5 out of 10. Rough prose, cool story, right? And the prose really was a problem for me, but I did still like the story, right? So 5 out of 10. I encourage Nick to definitely keep writing, man. I want to check out his other works. I remember Josh at Working Men's Reads. He read 2 of Nick's books and reviewed them. I can't remember which they were, but he said there was a big improvement from one to the next. So I really want to check that out and see how Nick improves his writing. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I don't know if Nick watches my channel or not, but if he does, keep on doing what you're doing, man. Peace out to all of y'all.